Hey everyone, in the previous episode, you saw that Pastry helped his father defend their fiefdom from the rascal bandits who invaded. Thanks to his plan, everything went well, and he suffered only a cut on his arm that wasn't too serious. Today, we'll see more of this amazing story, but before that, the usual ritual: subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and drop that supportive like. It really helps me out, okay? Let's get to the recap. Today's episode starts by showing us the damage they suffered during the battle. Then, it also shows us the bandits who were captured being taken to some sort of shed to wait until the capital folks arrive to take them away. Pastry's father talks to his right-hand man, saying it's best to send them to the capital. This way, the Countess would receive credit for having captured them, instead of just driving them away, as actually happened. He thinks that doing it this way will earn him a great reward from her, and she would get credit for having captured them. To him, it seems fair, since the region where he lives is very barren, and they need resources to rebuild the villages the bandits destroyed. Some time later, he makes a list of those who helped during the battle to give them a reward. First is Glassage, a strange name. For his bravery and courage, he is gifted a spear and a silver coin, and the young man thanks them. Next up are Marcarolo and Luminito, those friends of Pastry. Pastry's father says both served very well as his assistants. Because of that, each of them will receive a sword and a bag of barley. Afterwards, the two of them head home, finding the bag of barley they received to be heavy. Soon, Pastry appears. He praises them and says they did really well in the battle. Soon, they arrive at Mark's house. His younger siblings say he's amazing, and his mother is overjoyed that he's come back safely. Afterward, they go to Lumi's house. Her grandfather hugs her and says his granddaughter is truly amazing. After this, he says they should celebrate, and a party with many people begins. At one point, Pastry starts daydreaming about all the sweets he'll be able to make during these times of peace. While he's lost in his thoughts, Mark and Lumi slip away and start talking. Mark asks what happened to the bandits, and Lumi says they were put in a shed. The boy suggests they should go take a look at them, and soon Lumi agrees. If this doesn't go wrong, I'm an astronaut. They head to the shed, but the guards stop them, saying it's not a place for children. Afterward, Mark picks up some stones from the ground and throws them at some woods next to the shed. The guards hear it and hurry to see what happened. In this moment, Mark and Lumi slip inside the shed where the bandits are held. Inside, they come face to face with the bandit leader, who instills fear in them just with a look. The bandit says the sword on Mark's belt belongs to him and asks where he got it. Mark says it was a reward. The bandit puts on a show and says he'll surely be in a grave when they hand him over, so he'd like to teach the next owner how to use that sword properly. He says that if it's used correctly, he could even use magic, and of course, this captures Mark's eyes, as he's always wanted to use magic like Pastry. But obviously, this is a trap, and Lumi warns him and tells them to leave. However, Mark is desperate for power and does as the bandit asks. The rascal says he must say some magic words, but they're very dangerous, so he asks Mark to come closer so his friend won't hear. Like a duck, Mark approaches him, and in the meantime, the bandit loosens his ropes. When Mark gets close, he gets kicked in the stomach, and the bandit frees himself. He grabs the sword and runs to attack Lumi. Obviously, she can't defend herself and receives a serious cut to her side. At this moment, the guards arrive, and the bandit leader takes Mark hostage. He grabs a horse and speeds away with the boy. At this moment, Pastry arrives and tells the guards to take care of Lumi. Outside, he asks the direction the bandit went and quickly sets off after the rascal. As Pastry goes after the bandit, he starts thinking of strategies on how he could defeat him. At this moment, we see that Pastry's father has been informed that his son is after the bandit, and he decides to go after him too. However, his assistant advises against it, saying he should stay and try to control the situation. The blonde kid says he'll go himself since he can track him down more easily using his tracking abilities. We switch back to the bandit, and we notice that one of Pastry's traps work, causing the bandit to fall. Immediately, Pastry arrives and stands in front of Mark to defend him. He recalls his father's sword training and attacks the bandit. The bandit comments that Pastry's skills are not bad for a kid. The bandit already knows that Pastry can transcribe wounds, so he is careful not to let Pastry see any cuts. He advances towards Pastry, who ends up trapped. At one point, the bandit attacks so strongly that he breaks Pastry's sword and would soon deliver a final blow to the boy. At least, that's what it seems, but you'll understand what happened in a moment. The anime cuts to another scene, and we see the blonde kid searching for Pastry. At some point, he finds the trail of Pastry's horse and then finds his broken sword. Thinking that the boy had perished, he doesn't know how to break the news to his friend. But to his surprise, upon arrival, he finds Pastry sitting on his mother's lap. He shouts out. Pastry's father says that he returned a while ago and that he has already taken Mark to his house. The blonde kid is shocked because he was sure that the boy had met his end. Afterward, Pastry's father asks him to explain exactly what he did to escape the bandit and avoid the watchful eye of his assistant. Pastry tries to dodge the question, saying it's a complicated situation and hard to explain. His father gets angry and demands that he explain it right away. Pastry then sees no alternative and admits that he copied his father's teleportation magic and used it on himself. They are impressed because this way he can copy the magic of anyone. The boy is almost like a Kakashi. His father, angry, says that from now on, he is forbidden to tell anyone that he can use other people's magic, because if the Empire finds out, they might use the boy as a weapon. He also says that he should not use teleportation frequently because it's very dangerous, and he could end up inside the ground if he's not careful. The next day, Pastry goes to talk to Mark and notices that the boy is very sad. Pastry asks why, and the boy responds that it's because of him that Lumi got hurt and that if he had listened to her, none of this would have happened. Pastry comforts him and says he should go and apologize to her if he's really sorry. The boy agrees and they go to visit their friend. They arrive, and Lumi seems to be doing well. She asks why they're visiting. Pastry asks how she's doing, and she says she's improving. Afterward, Pastry says he'll be in the kitchen for a while and leaves her alone with Mark. She asks why he's so down. Before he can respond, we see Pastry using ingredients like apples, sugar, and butter. We return to Lumi and Mark, and the boy has trouble opening up to her. Finally, he gathers his courage and apologizes for causing her injury because he didn't listen to her. The girl promptly says it's okay, and then a delicious apple pie aroma fills the room, and Pastry appears with a delicious apple pie. He says now that Mark has apologized, they should eat to celebrate. They take the first bite and say that the pie is absolutely amazing. They begin eating non-stop. But at some point, Lumi's father appears and seems really angry at Mark. He says it was him who hurt his dear daughter and he must face the consequences. However, he was just intimidating the boy, and he says that as compensation, Mark will have to marry his daughter when he's older. He says it's a good opportunity since his daughter is a tomboy and would never be able to get a man otherwise. He asks her if she liked the idea, and Lumi, thinking about eating, nonchalantly says it's no problem. Mark is desperate. Afterward, Lumi offers a piece of pie to her father, and Pastry takes one too. As expected, he finds it incredible, and when Mark asks about his piece, she says that everything belongs to the husband belongs to the wife, so she'll keep the last piece. Well, here we see that he's in trouble, and you should all be careful when getting married. What happens next, we'll discover together in the next video. Did you like today's episode? Then don't waste any time and hit that like button and subscribe to support our work directly. And as always, for those who stayed till the end, I've left an amazing video here. It tells the story of Oliver, who goes to a magic school where there are many mysteries and dangers. Click on the screen and take a look. See you next time.